Welcome back. In the previous video, we designed the pipeline and we tested it for two tables, for customer and customer arrays, and we've confirmed that it's working as expected. What we are going to do in this video is we need to migrate all the required tables as per the requirement. And for that, we are going to modify the query that we've used in the lookup activity in the way that it can read all the table names from source. And then we are going to execute the pipeline and see whether all the tables are migrated to destination or not. We also need to test the pipeline for incremental loading. That's why we used the watermark approach. And for that, what we are going to do is we are going to alter a few tables at source and insert new records. And then we will run the pipeline and see the output at destination with the expectation that only the new record or the updated record are transferred. We also need to automate the whole process by creating a schedule trigger and attach it to the pipeline. Also, we are going to trigger it and see the progress. One good practice to do while working with Azure Data Factory is to collect the metadata informations generated by the pipeline execution, like the pipeline ID, execution status, duration. Those are system-generated metadatas, and they are a good auditing information to collect and capture them in auditing table. So for that, we are going to create a store procedure to collect all the metadata information and write it to a control table that we are going to also create. We'll see all those details in this video, and let's get started. All right, so here is my ADF. So let me open it and then launch the Data Factory Studio. And from here, you can see the pipeline that we've developed in the previous video. So we've got this this pipeline that basically tested for two tables. Basically, the lookup will source two tables, the customer and the customer arrays from the on-premise SQL Server. And using the for each loop, we designed the process to copy all the data from the SQL Server database into the ADLS storage. So that's been done. Now we've tested that this is working. So let's go ahead and rewrite the code in the lookup so that we can source all the required tables. Basically, the requirement says if I go to the source, this is a source and this is a source database, the Adventure Works 2022. So we have to really, take all these tables into the cloud environment. And that has to be done incrementally, and we've done that already. So now we have to rewrite the code in the lookup statement in the way that it will take all the tables. So if I go back to ADF here, so here is the query that we've used. Let me copy it. Copy. That is basically only for two table. That's the table that we've used for testing purpose. So if I go to my SSMS and if I just paste that thing here, and then let me modify this query here. So this says select all from the those field from information schema where table name is that. So if I comment out this and maybe run the query, I get that. And so what we need is all the tables with sales LT schema. We don't need the tables with the DBO schema, as well as we don't need the views. These are some of these are views. So if I say instead all and then say that and comment out this, basically we have to really limit the query to where the table schema underscore schema is equal to sales LT. And table type, we want base table. Base table. So if I do that, those are the tables that we need, and basically I just need to remove that and bring my field. Okay. So use this query and then go to here and replace it. Yep, that's it. Basically, that the lookup is done. We need to test it, isn't it? So we need to really execute this lookup activity and see if the required tables are retrieved or not. So for that, you have to add a breakpoint so that you can only execute this activity and don't do anything to this one. So just add a breakpoint here. Alternatively, you can also deactivate this activity and then execute everything. That also works. But for now, I think I need to just do the breakpoint and debug it. All right, this failed. Let's find out what happened. So if I go to this one here, source side, incorrect syntax, table schema. Oh, the problem is here. I did not copy everything. So let me say select. That's the issue here. Okay, so let me debug it again. Okay, the lookup activity executed successfully. So let's see the output. So we have the address table and sales lt.address table name as well. Table name with the schema. Customer is there, customer address. So we have all the tables. So we are successful with the lookup activity. The next thing is we have to go to the for each. And do we need to change anything here? No, we don't need to change anything here. So basically, we've got two lookup activity. The first one goes into the watermark table in the Azure SQL database and get the watermark value. Basically, that is the date for the previous ingestion. And this lookup goes into the on-premises SQL Server table and get the maximum value of the data modification or ingestion date. So that is intact. We don't need to change anything. Copy activity, that is already configured. We don't need to do anything here as well. Store procedure, the same thing. The only thing we have to do is, because when we do the testing in the watermark table, we've got only 2 tables, isn't it? But now the lookup, this lookup is retrieving about 10 tables. So we have to add those additional 8 tables in the watermark table. So for that, we have to go to the SQL Server, the Azure SQL Server. We can use the query editor here and update our table, but I can also show you how you can get connected to SSMS and do the DML or DDL operations for the Azure SQL database. So copy the server name and then go to SSMS, and here basically that is our on-premises server. But I can bring the SQL server, the Azure SQL as well here. So if I paste that and then just put your login, mine is GRMA, and then put your password. That is the password. Then we have the server here. Okay, that is the Azure SQL Server, and here is our database. Within that database, we have one table, I believe. Yep, that is the table we've got. So if I do select, that is the 2 tables that we've got with the previous watermark value. Now we've got 8 more tables that was retrieved by the lookup, so we have to add those tables here. So I have the query ready here in essence of time. I just wrote it ahead of time. So if I just put that one here, basically that is insert into the watermark table. That is the table name, schema table name, the watermark value, and then these are the new tables. So run it. All right, and if I run the table, we have the output. Okay, so we have everything ready, isn't it? Yep, we have everything ready. So it's time to debug it. Before we debug it, let me go and show you what we have in the destination. As you remember, when we did the testing in the bronze layer, we've got customer and customer arrays already ingested. And that is the date that the ingestion happened, and that's the file name here. Basically, that is this is the data here. That's the data here. Now, when we, the same for the customer arrays, when we execute the pipeline, Now we should be able to see all the additional tables here, and we should be able to see these dates dated. All right, so I'm going to debug it and then see. All right, so the ADF execution is completed successfully, and it took about 6 minutes, and you can see the success here. So good. Now let's go to the storage account and see the outputs. So here is the storage account. If I do refresh, now I see all the tables. If I go to one of the table or one of the file, and now here is the data. Good. How about customer? If I go to customer, when we did the testing, we have this file. Now today it created this file. But do you think there is any data in this one? Because there is no update to the on-premises dataset here, I don't think there will be any data inside here. So if I click on that and view it, so there is no data here. So that's what the incremental ingestion is all about. Now later on, we're gonna insert new records into some of these tables on the on-premises source, and then run the pipeline and see how the incremental loading progressed. Okay, so we have all the tables here. Now the required tables, we've got them here. How about the ingestion, the watermark? So let me run it and see. I'm sure this is going to be updated. So if I run it, yep. So we have the watermark values captured. Good. So our next step is to insert new records into these tables and fix the incremental loading. But before that, what we need to do is, all the pipeline activities, when a pipeline runs, we need to log some of these auditing data sets. Basically, we have to capture the data factory outputs and capture them in audit table. So we'll see that. All right, auditing. So auditing information for ADF is basically, whenever we execute ADF pipelines, there are some system generated metadata. Those are basically, like for example, here we've got the RunID. The RunID for this pipeline is this GUID here. That needs to be captured in a control table, and that's what we talk about, the auditing information. The pipeline status, the some of the RunID here, the different activities RunID here. There are a lot of metadata that the ADF is generating while executing, and that information is needs to be captured in a control table, and that is really the best practice for any ADF activities or ADF pipelines, and it has got a lot of advantage. And some of them are like, for example, we will have a complete audit trails. That means track every pipeline's run with some key details. Who ran the pipeline, whether it's triggered or manual triggered, and when was it run, and how was the progress. What is the status, basically, whether it succeeded, failed. That kind of information is captured in the auditing table. Also, for compliance and governance purpose, we have to really capture this pipeline execution records in a table permanently, so that when there is a regulatory internal auditing is happening, they will refer to that table and check everything. Also for performance monitoring purpose, if you have these outputs captured in the control table or in the auditing table, we can do some analysis and check which activities are taking too long. Is there any anomalies in terms of the execution duration? So we can do that kind of analysis and enhance the performance of the pipeline execution where necessary. Also, if there is a failure, for example, if a pipeline fails, if you don't have the control table or the auditing table, you need to go to the ADF monitoring window and scroll through if the whole different activities to find out what exactly is happening with that specific pipeline that you want. And that's something which takes time. So, but if you have this thing captured in a table, I mean, you can directly go to that ID, the ID that you're looking for, and take action, investigate what happened, take action quickly. It's also possible to create a dashboard based on all the records that you've captured in the auditing table, and maybe create some kind of Power BI report. And that's one thing that every data engineer needs to check every morning to verify the progress of the nightly ADF executions. So if there is any failure or if there is any anomalies, they can quickly take action. So that dashboard is the go-to zone for detecting the nightly progress. We can also configure the dashboard in a way that it can send an alert if there's any activities failed, so we can take a quick action. So those are some of the advantages of having audit table. And audit tables you can create for ADF. You can create it at a pipeline level, also at activity level. For each activity you can capture some of the auditing information. The for copy, for example, that's got the copy duration, some other copy related auditing data sets that you need to capture. So what I am going to do here is maybe capture the auditing information at the pipeline level, and later on maybe you can go ahead and capture the auditing information at the activity level. It's more or less the same, but there may be a little bit more information that you need to capture at the activity level. Okay, so let's start. So the first thing we need to do is we have to create the control table that captures the auditing output from the pipeline execution. For that, we need to go to this SSMS, and I still have my SQL Server here, the Azure database here. So if I open one of the table, and then I have my query ready here, the create table query. I'm going to bring it over. Okay, so basically my table is called pipeline run log, and it's got those fields here. So pipeline run ID, the pipeline name, data factory name, region where the pipeline was created, or the ADF is created, trigger type, trigger name, trigger run ID, status, whether it's succeeded or failed, then the pipeline start time, end time, duration, and then some additional notes that you might want to capture, then some other date value here. So I have audit schema here, and that's not created yet. So let me create that. Create a schema called audit. Okay, that's created. Now let me create a table. Good. How are we going to populate this auditing data sets from the ADF? We are going to use a store procedure, and I've got a store procedure here as well. Okay, so this store procedure, basically the store procedure is called insert pipeline run log, and it's got multiple variables here. So basically all these variables are going to be captured from the system variable of the ADF activity, and then that will be basically, it will insert it into the audit table. All right, it's a very simple store procedure. Let me just create it. Okay, we have both of them here. So let me go back to my ADF activity. So the lookup gets the table from the on-premises. The for each copies the data to the destination ADLS storage. Now we have to add the store procedure activity here to capture the auditing outputs. So for that, stored let me give a name for this one. It's log on success. Why I say on success? We have to add another activity to log the auditing output on failure as well. So each activity has got this multiple outputs here. Basically, is on success, the green line, and then on the failure you've got the red line here, and then on completion we've got another one here. That's on completion here. What we need is what will happen on success, and then what we want to do on failure, basically. So that's the two things that we need to do. So So this is the link service for my store procedure is basically the link service to the Azure SQL database. And I should be able to see the store procedure that I just created. And that is this one here. And then basically we have multiple parameters attached to this store procedure. For that, you just need to do import. And then from there, you have to really give the pipeline values, Data factory name, that's straightforward. Just click on that and go to dynamic content. If you go to the system variable here, you've got this data factory name. So just click on that, and then you've got that values there. Duration, basically duration, that's much more applicable for activity level outputs. So let's just pass it for now, treat as null. In time, normally you cannot really rearrange these fields. I mean, you cannot really drag up and down because before in time we want to see start times, isn't it? But these things are arranged alphabetically. So let's leave it as it is. But in time is a UTC now from the date function. Note, like I said, there's a free text. You can put whatever text that you want here about this pipeline if you want to capture. For me, I'll just leave it null. Pipeline name, again, system variable. If I go to here, that's a pipeline name here. RunID, go to pipeline RunID. Region is where the ADF is created. It's US. Start time, the same thing. Start time is a UTC now. By the way, you can cast this time to your time zone if you want, but for now, just use the UTC now. Status, we are logging this on success, so just add success. Okay, trigger name. Let me click on that. If I go to system variable, this is a trigger name, but we haven't created trigger yet. So there's no trigger name basically. So if there is no trigger name, let me just write a call S, and if there is no trigger, so we just do manual. All right. Trigger RunID, the same for that too, but just hit on that. And then trigger type, system, trigger type. Okay, I think we have configured everything. Good. Again, that's on success. So what are we going to do on failure? So we just need to maybe copy that, Control C and Control V, paste, and then connect. On failure, connect. And the only thing you need to do is go to your variable and change this into fail. That's it. Okay, I think we have everything here. We have everything here. Let me validate. It's good. And then publish. And then, as you remember, we haven't done anything. We haven't updated any of the source table, but for us to check what we've done here, let's just execute it and see what is captured in the auditing table. Okay, so once this execution is completed, we will go ahead and update some of these tables. We are going to insert some new records and maybe also create a trigger and run the pipeline end to end, and that basically completes this course. So part one is basically done. So we got all the data migration, table migration from the on-premises SQL Server to the cloud environment. And we did that using the watermark approach. And we've got the control table configured, and trigger is going to be attached. And we have our data in the bronze layer. So that is the objectives of part one. In part two, we are going to source the data from the bronze layer and arrange it using some of the business logic that was communicated, and store the data in the curated or silver layer of the ADLS storage. And then from there as well, we might do a bit of aggregation to create the business ready outputs in the storage in the gold layer. Depending on the time that we've got, we might create some dashboard in Power BI and serve the data. All right, so the pipeline execution completed successfully. Let's go ahead and see what we have in the audit table. So if we go here and basically that's my audit table here. Okay, so we've got the RunID captured, the pipeline name, my Azure Data Factory name, region, trigger is manual, trigger name, we don't have any trigger name. We said trigger name manual, but it just put as sandbox. That's the RunID, the status, successfully completed. Then some of the time information. So we have all the information captured, which is good. So this is the auditing pipeline level auditing output that we need to capture. Okay. What we are going to do next is update some of these tables and create a trigger and attach to our pipeline so that we can test the process end to end. So first, customer address or customer. If I run my customer table, this is the customer table, the maximum ID that I've got at the moment is 3,118. So I have 3 new records here. Let me just paste it here. I have to, because this is an identity field, I have to really apply this set identity insert on, and then when I finish inserting it, set identity insert off. Okay, so I have 3 records. So 30,119, 120, 121. All the other values, the name style, first name, last name, some of the grid, as well as the data modified date or data insertion date. That's what is really critical for the watermark to work. So insert it, and then if I run the table, I should have 3 more records. These are the 3 additional records that I've inserted. Let's go to maybe address. What do we have for address? The maximum record I've got for address is, if I scroll it down, I've got 11382. I have few additional insert here, 3 records. So 11, 3, 83, 84, and 85, and all the other values here. Insert, and then run it. Those are inserted here. 83, 84, and 85 is 20, 25, 10, 25. Good. Maybe customer address. That is a search table that we need to modify. Here is a insertion, basically a simple insert here. And then those are the 3 data. Last, product table. What do we have in the product table? Execute. The maximum ID, that product ID that we've got is 999. And if I add 3 more, 1000, 1001, 1002, and execute, and then run it. Here are the, okay, so we've updated 4 tables. So in each table, we've got 3 new additions. Now, when we run the pipeline, we should be able to see only those new data sets to be migrated or transferred to the ADLS storage. Excellent. The next thing that we have to do here is in the ADF, we don't do anything except creating a trigger, isn't it? because we've done everything here. Right, let's go ahead and create a trigger. For that, we need to get to the monitor trigger. Maybe just create a new trigger here, maybe TRG underscore NubiEdge the ingestion. Oh, just give whatever time you want, maybe 11 there. So the colon doesn't work. Underscore. Give a description, scheduled, the trigger type, we want scheduled. Tumbling storage event, we don't want that. Starting date, today, now. And then time zone Eastern, that's going to be daily. I just need once a day. And then put your time here, so 11, and then 00. And then specify end date, if you want to specify the dates that you want to expire the trigger, you can mention that. Then start trigger on creation, yes. And then, okay. If I go back to my pipeline, I can attach that trigger here. If I do that, that's a trigger here, then everything is okay. Make sure to publish for trigger to be activated. Then, yeah, we need to validate and then publish. Okay, it's published. Now we got the trigger created. The time is 10:22. We don't want to wait another 40 minutes. We can't do a trigger now. Parameter. Yeah, there is no parameter. I think we don't have any parameter. Then say okay. Okay, I accidentally executed the trigger 2 times, but the first execution looks like it's completed here. If we go to the on-premises, if I run this, I should be able to, yeah, basically it has been executed multiple times here. You can see the first trigger that we've made, we've created, we've executed 2 times, and then the last trigger here. So everything is captured here, it's all successful. And then if I go to this table here, I'm sure these dates, they will be updated. Yeah, you can see it's 2025-10, the watermark value is updated. Also, if I go to the storage account and check customer, one of the tables just updated, I'm sure multiple files are created here. I'm sure this is the one we need to check. If I check that, that's not the one, maybe this one. Wait for that 3 cards here already. Okay. We have everything done, basically. So we have the pipeline configured end to end. Basically, this is the data migration, the SQL Server data from the on-premises to the ADLS storage, the bronze layer. So as part of the module 1, which is a part 1 course, we got this end-to-end pipeline developed. All right, so this is basically part 1 of this course. We demonstrated migrating an on-premises SQL Server database hosted tables into ADLS storage, and we stored it in the bronze layer. And we applied the watermark approach. So data is migrated incrementally from the on-premises to the ADLS storage, and the whole activity is automated. There is a trigger attached to the process. So, daily, this pipeline reads data from the on-premises, extract all the new and updated data sets and take them over to the ADLS storage. We also have a control table. The first control table is basically the table which captures the watermark value for each execution. And then the second one is, the pipeline execution log, which captures the progress of the pipeline activity, whether it's successful, failed, or other accompanying information about the pipeline ID, trigger information, everything that is captured as well. So that's basically part 1 of this course. In part 2, we will start sourcing data from the bronze layer and enriching it or create it to the silver layer. And then from the silver layer, we have to do a bit of aggregation to create the business-ready final datasets and store it in the gold layer. So part 2 is going to utilize, we are going to work on either Synapse Analytics, Azure Synapse Analytics, or maybe we can use Microsoft Fabrics, notebook activities for arrangement. And then the final output from the gold layer, we'll use the Power BI to serve the data in the form of dashboard. That's basically it. If you have any question, please put your comment in the section below. Or if you need any clarification or additional videos to be created, again, just drop your comment. And then, yeah, good luck. So, keep up working and continue studying. I will see you in part 2. Thank you.